Good morning friends, you are most welcome to Think IS channel. Today we are going to discuss Ghatnachakra for environment and ecology. This topic is important for UPPSC 2023. Let us begin the topic. Our topic is ecology and here we are discussing the pyramids. The pyramid of biomass is a graphical representation that depicts the extent of biomass per unit area within different trophic levels in an ecological system. In grasslands and forests, there is a gradual decrease in biomass of organisms at successive levels from the producers to the top carnivores. Thus, pyramids are upright. However, in a pond, as the producers are small organisms, their biomass is very less, and this value gradually shows an increase towards the apex of the pyramid, thus making the pyramid inverted in shape. Here you can see the picture of the inverted pyramid of biomass in pond. Here you can see big fishes 1000 kg, small fishes 100 kg, crustacean 25 kg and plankton 5 kg. Here you are seeing that there is a gradual decrease in weight from top to bottom. 100 kg big fishes, 1000 kg big fishes, 100 kg small fishes, 25 kg crustacean and 5 kg plankton. There is an energy flow from top to bottom. Biological magnification or biomagnification. Biomagnification refers to an increase in the concentration of the toxic materials at successive trophic levels. This happens because a toxic substance is accumulated by an organism which cannot be metabolized or excreted and is thus passed on the next trophic level. This phenomena is well known for mercury, Hg and DDT. DDT is a chemical substance which cannot be degraded biologically. Its concentration increases in the organism from lower trophic level to higher trophic level. Snakes is a tertiary consumer, so the concentration of DDT will be more in snake. It is deposited in fatty tissues of an organism. DDT is an insecticide. Bionomics or biomagnification. In ecology or bionomics, Greek bio is life, nomos is law, is the comprehensive study of an organism and its relation to its environment. It is synonymous to ecology. It stresses the value of natural systems which influence human system and is not related to the management of life. Biogeochemical cycle. Biogeochemical cycle. In earth science, a biogeochemical cycle is a pathway by which a chemical substance moves through both biotic and abiotic components of earth. Biogeochemical cycle of nitrogen, phosphorus and carbon etc. are found in nature. These are mainly of two kinds. Types of biogeochemical cycle: gaseous cycle, sedimentary cycle. Biogeochemical cycles are two types. First is gaseous cycle, for example O2 N2 cycle. Second is sedimentary cycle, for example calcium phosphorus, sulfur and potassium cycle. Ecological succession is the gradual process by which ecosystem change and develop over time. In grassland, trees have already been cleared away due to fires in the past, which also changes the ground composition. Without the trees to hold them, water washes away most of the soil and the underlying ground becomes the pioneer population, which is then replaced by grasses. The grass, however, absorbs most of the water before it reaches the roots of the shrubs. F. Clements studied different species of plants and gave a generally agreed upon definition in 1960. According to him, biotic succession is a natural process of displacement of one particular community by another in a particular area. A scientist named E. Odom described it as a sequenced process. The correct order of biotic succession is as follows: nudation, migration, assesses, reaction, and stabilization, stages of ecological succession. Environmental movements. The Chipko movement was a forest conservation movement in India started in 1973. On 26 March 1974, Gaura Devi gathered other women around her village in the Garhwal Himalayas and prevented loggers from felling trees by sticking to the trees. This act by illiterate tribal and village women to reclaim their traditional forest rights was a dramatic movement known as Chipko Andolan, a non-violent struggle that gave birth to the modern Indian environmental movement. Ecology is permanent economy was the slogan of Chipko movement. Narmada Bachao Andolan was against the construction of a multimodal dam on the Narmada River. A PICO movement was started in Karnataka for environmental protection. Ecological footprint and Millennium Ecosystem Assessment. The ecological footprint is a measure of human demand on the Earth's ecosystem. It is a standardized measure of demand for natural resources that may be contrasted with the planet's ecological capacity to regenerate. It can be defined as the biologically productive area required to provide everything people need to sustain their life. It can be defined as the biologically productive area required to provide everything people need to sustain their life. It includes fruits, vegetables, wood, fibers, fossil fuel use, and also release the carbon dioxide. Its unit is global hectares. It is notable that our ecosystem provides different services to human and nature. Social cost of carbon and SCCO2 is a measure in monetary value of the long-term damage done by a ton of carbon dioxide CO2 emission in a given year. EPA Environmental Protection Assessment or Agency and other federal agencies use estimates of the social cost of carbon to evaluate the climate impacts of rulemaking. Here you can see the figure ecological footprint. Here there is electric energy and water use. Second is sewage and emission from motor vehicles. According to the World Development Report 2010, Millennium Ecosystem Assessment describes five groups of ecosystem services. Nutrient cycling and crop pollination are examples of ecosystem services. Ecosystem services are there are five services: provisioning services, regulating services, supporting services, cultural services, and preserving services. Provisioning services includes production of food and water. Regulating services includes control of climate and disease. Supporting services includes nutrient and cycle and crop pollination. Cultural services includes spiritual, educational, recreational services. Preserving services include diversity maintenance. Different services of ecosystems. Ecosystem, some facts for exam. Eucalyptus is known as environmental evil. It absorbs too much inland water and decreases water level at the place of its plantation. It is mostly found in Australia. Lantic ecosystem refers to the static water habitats like ponds, lakes, swamps, and marshes. Lotic ecosystem refers to the moving water habitats like rivers. Ecotone is a region of transition between two biological communities, Community A forest ecotone and Community B grassland. Status of ecotone in ecosystem. Oceanic ecosystem is the most stable ecosystem. Term ecosystem was coined by A.G. Tansley. Order of ecosystem productivity in decreasing order mangrove, grasslands, lake, ocean. An ecosystem with more diversity has more productivity. The entire sequence of communities that successively change in a particular area are called series. Sinocline It shows density gradient in an aquatic system. Halocline, it shows a salt gradient in an ecosystem or aquatic ecosystem. Thermocline represent the change in temperature with a depth of an aquatic system. Arenaceous Arenness in 1973 used the term deep ecology for first time. Ecological niche term was coined by Joseph Grinnell in 1917 who called it microhabitats. The concept of ecological transition was first used by John W. Bennett. He proposed the concept of he proposed the concept in his book The Ecological Transition: Cultural Anthropology and Human Adaptation. Indian Wildlife Protection Act was passed in 1972. Environmental Protection Act was passed in 1986. Forest Conservation Act was passed in 1980. Oceanic outflow is that process in which warm and nutrient-less water at the surface is replaced by cold and nutrient-rich water by airflow or wind. Eco-sensitive zones are mentioned under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. The vehicles used for commercial activities in eco-sensitive zones have been regulated but are not prohibited, hence except agriculture. Rest of the human activities are not prohibited, but some of these are restricted and some of them have been regulated. Thank you very much.